Hello YouTube, I'm Hills on the Hunt. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we have my weekly watches. So let's go. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. So yeah, we got my weekly watches. I did say I was going to try and go back to kind of once a week. So we've got 7 titles. It seems to be kind of where I am at the minute, wise in terms of what I can watch. And so yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. I try and aim between 7 and 9 a week. I think that's feasible. But yeah, we got 7 this week. Again, a kind of mixed bag of titles: some new, some old, some horror, some comedy. So yeah, I try and mix it up. Just try and keep the brain fresh a little bit and not kind of just delve down one route. I'm trying to kind of learn a lot of different styles of movies. So yeah, delving into a little bit of this and a little bit of that is always helpful and always ideal. So yeah, we'll go through the 7 titles. I'll let you know what I think, and as always, towards the end of each review, I'll pop up the Letterboxd rating so you can see exactly what I rated the movie on there. I'll pop my Letterboxd information in the description below, so yeah, feel free to follow me. I don't review it, I'll just put a rating, obviously because we'll do the reviews here, but yeah, we'll go with the first one and see how we go from there. So we started the week off with Clue. Directed by Jonathan Lynn, starring the great Tim Curry, Eileen Brennan, Madeline Kahn, Christopher Lloyd and Michael McKean, Martin Mull, Leslie Ann Warren. And yeah, for American viewers it will be Clue. For us in the UK it will be Cluedo, classic board game. Case of who done it, which room they done it in, and what weapon they done it in, brought onto the big screen. Yeah, I had fun. I had a really good time with this. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I think I saw it a few years ago. So I didn't remember it too much. It was nice to kind of revisit it and see it almost for the first time again. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really, really good. Like Tim Curry as what was his character's name? Wadsworth, I think it was. Wadsworth, yeah, the butler. He kind of just held. He kind of was the glue that held everything together. And then you had your cast. Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum and Miss Scarlet, and the cast from Cluedo, and the weapons and everything, and the story about who got murdered in the big apartment. And it was really, really enjoyable. Like, really had a good time. It moved at a good enough pace. There was enough happening to kind of keep you involved. All the side characters did their job well. Yeah, all of them were really enjoyable. Kind of learn about the premise of each of them and why they ended up in this situation. Yeah, I had a good time with this one. I found it to be very, very much enjoyable. A good, nice, light way to start the movie week off, and yeah, one I'll keep revisiting. I like the fact that they also had the alternate endings towards the end of the movie as well. So obviously you had your main ending, and who was unmasked as the killer, and then you had, I think, 3 alternate endings even, done by 3 of the other characters. So I think that was nice. You can kind of take away different routes that they could have taken the movie. I mean, the premonitions there, you could have gone so many different ways with this, which made it good. And even the little characters that came into the movie and were kind of killed off, they fitted in somehow. So it wasn't just they were there for no reason; they were there for a reason, which made it very good. Which made it a very, very enjoyable little movie. Yeah, nice light way to start the week off, and yeah, go in from there, because it's gonna get darker and weirder as we move on. So, but yeah, Clue, definitely enjoyed this one. Yeah, we'll revisit it again. Hopefully, we get a Monopoly movie, because that'd be weird. But yeah, Clue. We then moved into some low budget movies. We moved to When Death Calls, from 2012, starring Susie Lorraine, Tina Krause, Natalie Eggert, Natalie Bryan, even Jay Mose, and Puya Mohensi. And you know what? I love low budget. So I feel like sometimes my reviews on low budget movies are slightly biased. Because I enjoy them. I enjoy the fact that I know I'm going to walk into a movie where the acting is not the greatest and the casting and lighting is not the greatest. that's the expectations I go in with. So I go in low and then kind of build myself up, as opposed to going in high and then getting let down. So that way it's almost kind of reverse psychology in terms of what I'm looking out for with this movie. And this was fun. So this was based around Halloween. Um, and it's a little anthology of different movies, all built around a radio DJ um, who's hosting a late night show, and people call in and tell horror stories. And as they read it out on it and then obviously play it out on screen. So one of them is an elementary school teacher being stalked by a mysterious caller. Um, there are other stories. So elementary school teachers bullied by a psycho. One night stand goes wrong. A couple stay in and end up in danger. A creature in the basement eats women. Zombie wife from the dead who won't die. So that's your 5 stories that blend in. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was silly. It was fun. Lots of gore, lots of fake gore. If you've ever watched a low budget slasher, you know there's going to be nudity. Get away with that on the back. But yeah, it's what you expect from a movie. It's fun. I mean, the girls are pretty enough. The killers are dumb enough. You know, it's just the acting's legible enough. So yeah, you kind of get what you go in for. I just feel with these kind of movies, if you go in with kind of high expectations, you're gonna let yourself down. Go in low barrel and then see kind of how you feel from there. That's my mindset. And you know what? Holding together with the radio broadcaster there was enjoyable, because she was featured in the last part of the anthology, which was good. And she was a character kind of all the way through. There were a few things where you thought, wait, that didn't make sense, or that didn't make sense. And they pieced it all together at the end as well with one of the stories. So I feel like it was nicely done. It was really well put together. It was enjoyable enough. There was enough going on. The stories weren't long enough to like overrun their welcome. And the characters were what you expected from these kind of movies. Fun, just silly. Yeah, it was a fun ride, this one. Definitely, I'll be looking out for more Yellow 8 productions, because when they did the start of the movie, they had a bunch of trailers, and even some of them movies look fun. So yeah, we'll give this one Jim Haggerty. But yeah, When Death Calls, really good. Really enjoyed this one. All right, went back in time after, back to 1934 for It Happened One Night, starring Clark Gable, Claudette Colbert, and Walter Connolly. Yeah, this was fun. Again, I've mentioned it multiple times in videos, so you're probably going to get sick of me saying it, but revisiting movies from 30s, 40s, 50s, that sort of era, it's not stuff I would have ever thought about doing, but the movie community I'm now part of, doing this on YouTube. I have my horror community mostly on Instagram, and I have on WhatsApp a very small but knowledgeable and very wise community of people I am kind of interacting with and friends with. And you know, they venture a lot into these range of movies from these kinds of these eras, and you know, they talk so highly of them. So you kind of almost find yourself wanting to kind of see what the hype is about. And so far there hasn't been many that that I haven't enjoyed and haven't had a good time with, and even this was good fun. This revolves around Claudette Colbert's character, Ellie, who's a spoiled daughter from a rich family. Her dad doesn't like the guy she's trying to marry. So he's trying to stop her, and when she's moving off back to New York to kind of make things happen in the road, on the way, and she runs into Clark Gable, who's a what is he called? He's an out of work newsman. He's a news reporter, obviously with a big name, almost celebrity millionaire's daughter trying to go missing. He doesn't think he realizes straight away who it is, but as time passes, the interactions between the two of them is so good, and they're very, very well done together. As they make this journey together, you're obviously going to have stops in the way and people getting involved in the way, and it was really, well done. You can see kind of where it was going towards the end. You can see what was going to happen towards the end, but it's just how they got there is what was the enjoyable part. The happy scenes, the sad scenes, the when they had to work together, when they tried to work apart, when she tried to be so independent. He didn't force himself like to do anything he didn't want to, and just let her make the mistakes, which was really good. And you can see her developing her character to say, wait, I love this guy, I'm supposed to be marrying this guy, but this guy's actually putting an effort in for me. So it was that kind of dynamic between the two of them. And I've seen a couple of like Clark Gable movies, and I've really enjoyed them. I think he's very, very good at kind of what he did. And this was no different. So yeah, I did have a good time with this one. And I'm really excited to kind of see what happens. Directed by Frank Capra, and I've heard from others that he's done a few good movies. So yeah, I'm intrigued to kind of bury myself further down this road and keep trying out new movies. But yeah, this was a really good one. So I had a good time with this one. It happened one night. All right, next up, we went back to the Artificial Eye label and I watched A Separation. This is a Persian movie in Iran. So Persian language movie from Iran in 2011, directed by Ashkar Farhadi, starring Leila Hatami, Payman Moadi, Shahab Hossein Sareh, Bayat Serena Farhadi, and Bubak Kademi. The movie revolves around Layla and Payman, Simir and Nadir, and the daughter, Tazami. And how the movie progresses is Nadir wants to move the family to another town from Iran to give her daughter a better life in terms of her education and whatnot. And husband doesn't want to. He doesn't want to, but mostly for the reason that his father is living in the house. His father suffers from Alzheimer's, so he cannot be left alone. He needs support to kind of have someone to look after him. So he chooses to stay there. The movie moves into court, and the court decides that the daughter's choice is to stay with her father. That's what she chooses to do, so she stays with him. And the mother moves off somewhere else, but still keeping contact with them. What then happens is, because he needs the support for someone to look after his father, he hires a helper, a woman to run the household. The woman is married and she has a young daughter as well. Now, I may not get this politically correct, so if anyone watches this and can correct me, but I believe for the wife to work in the house, and this is the understanding I got from the movie, so for a married woman to work in the house of a single man, she has to have the two men have to meet, the husband and the single man, and he has to give permission for his wife to do that. That's the indication I got from this movie. And to be fair to Nadir, he does try to get the permission. Sorry, the woman is Simin, so Nadir was the husband. He tries to get the permission. He asks her that, look, I need to meet your husband, and she keeps putting it off. Oh yeah, he's coming. He'll be coming tomorrow. He'll be coming this day, and she's now struggling with the job because it's heavy work, and she's a mother with a daughter, and later on in the movie you find out that she's actually pregnant, but she doesn't disclose that to Nadir when she takes the job. He never meets the husband, and things start playing out. And you can kind of see the premise of where this is going. One day Nadir comes back with his daughter early to the house and finds his father on the floor, unconscious, close to death. But the carer, I think Razia was her name. There's a lot of names in this movie, so forgive me for that. But I believe it was Razia, and she's nowhere to be seen, nowhere in the house, and the father is chained to the bed. Oxygen tank all over the place. Just a lot of stuff going on, and as you would, Nadir loses his temper, and throws her out. Doesn't pay her, throws her out. When he goes to get money, he finds that the money's missing, and the only one in the house is her. She accuses her of theft as well. And he nudges her out of the door. He then talks to his wife about it. They find out that she's been rushed to hospital. Razia was rushed to hospital. And that's when they find out that she was pregnant. And she's lost the baby. Now, he's now saying, in the courts, he's now saying, I wouldn't have hired her if she was a pregnant woman. She hid that from me. Once it moves to the court part of the movie, truths and lies and everything starts coming out. Everything starts falling in place. And Nadia's life is just taken, like, he's got his ex-wife on one side trying to coax his daughter away. You got this woman and her husband on the other side trying to manipulate him for money. And his main concern is his father. What does he do about that? What will happen to him? And he's trying to save himself. It's a really good movie. I probably haven't done it justice because there's so much going on. I don't want to kind of overdevelop what happens at the end in terms of what's going on. But you can see the pieces that are in place. I would highly recommend this movie. Highly, highly recommend it. The last one I saw from The Artificial Eye was Leviathan. And that was a 5-star movie. And you're going to see this one as well. So far my ventures into Artificial Eye, I don't think I'm in less than a 4-star rating, 4.5-star rating. I think it was 4-star rating. But I'm so excited to continue delving into these movies because the storytelling, the culture, everything about these movies have so far been so enjoyable. And I know there's going to be ones that I'm going to move into that isn't really up to my taste. But this one, the characters, the story, the plot, the way the film develops, how it then switches when it gets to the court side of the movie, how the courts are portrayed in Iran, the slight rules and regulations of religion that you have to follow, and everything you pick up, and then the ending. And I'll leave that for you guys to watch. But if there is a film you need to watch and you enjoy dramas and you enjoy kind of movies with tough subjects, I recommend this, A Separation. Go check it out. You won't be sorry. I promise you that. I said a couple of movies ago that I was checking out more Cary Grant movies, and he's back again. His Girl Friday. Completely different character. This one is from 1940, directed by Howard Hawks, Cary Grant, Rosalind Russell, and Ralph Bellamy. Those are 3 main characters in the movie. The movie revolves around Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell, Walter and Hildy, who are married, and they work as a newspaper. He's the editor and she's the star reporter. She decides that she doesn't want to be married to him anymore and is actually going to get married to somebody else who's a little bit more sensible, a little bit less high-pressured, and a little bit less ruthless. When they meet Bruce, who's a completely different character to Walter, just completely different. But Walter won't let things lie. He won't let her go because he knows how much, as a reporter, he means to her, and then as she starts moving away, how much he still cares for her. She doesn't see it. She wants to marry into something a little bit more sensible and get away from the reporting side of things. She wants to settle down and have a life. But as a reporter, you chase the story, and he knows that she will chase the story. So he dangles a big story in front of her, where he gives her access to a prison to interview the biggest prison inmate in there at the moment. And when you see him, you'll just think, what are you doing? But I think those were the kind of things you saw in those movies back in this era. And the more she tries to move away, the more she can't. So it's that dynamic of her trying to move and live a happy life, Walter not letting her do it by just dangling things in front of her that he knows she can't avoid. And yeah, Bruce just being very, very kind of nonchalant and just very silly in terms of how he behaves around things. This is fun. Jealous partners shouldn't get involved in other people's lives, but these two, really good together. Bruce, different element of character, but he worked out well. You can see all 3 of them on the back there. The movie itself just moves at 100 miles an hour. It's just fast paced. The conversations just quick. No. You say this, you say that, you say that. It's just lightning fast all the way through, but it works so well. It works in the sense of how a newspaper reporting office would have been in the olden days. I believe so. Just lightning fast, quick, straight on, witty comments. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I had a good time. The time blew by. It wasn't that long, maybe 92 minutes. So time blew by so quickly. This was fun. And like I said before, I'm enjoying watching these movies. I get a lot out of them. A lot of fun time out of them. Because as much as I love the horror, the gore, and this, I just love watching movies that based around characters. So developing even further and continuing to learn. But yeah, here's Girl Friday. Enjoy it. Now the week dips a little bit. We have Hide and Seek from 2005, starring Robert De Niro, Dakota Fanning, Famke Janssen, and Elizabeth Shue. The story revolves around De Niro and Fanning, father and daughter, David and Emily, after their mother/wife commits suicide. They move to a new house just to get away from it all. Emily seeing her dead mother's body in the bathtub when she commits suicide is enough to traumatize anybody. She's going to therapy and whatnot, and trying to get her life back on track. And they move to this small suburb village, small town mindset. You know, everyone knows everyone in this place, and trying to get their life back together. And from the first couple of days that they're living there, she doesn't really talk to anyone until one day she's outside and ends up talking to a guy named Charlie, who's a new friend. It's an imaginary friend only she can see and communicate with. Only she doesn't believe that he's imaginary. So, you know, David plays along with it because she's starting to see a little bit of happiness and starting to feel back to herself. It goes along with it until things start to get a little bit sinister, where things start happening and signs start popping up around the house saying, you know, portraying that the suicide maybe wasn't a suicide and something a little bit more devious had been going on. That maybe David had actually killed his wife and she hadn't killed herself. Now, Emily's like, nope, I had nothing to do with it, nothing to do with me. This is all Charlie's doing. But remember, Charlie's her friend only and no one else can see him. Elizabeth Shue fits in, where she's living in the town that they're living in, and she befriends David, and Charlie doesn't like that either, and neither does Emily, because Charlie's now manipulating her mind to say that she's replacing her mother. And Famke Janssen is a fellow doctor who worked with David back in their old hometown, and yeah, she comes over and Emily trusts her, so they get on really well. So the four of these characters kind of blend in really nicely together. The two other ladies don't ever meet in the movie, but Emily has interactions with each of them, different interactions. She loves Famke Janssen, she hates Elizabeth Shue. And then bodies start piling up because Charlie is very, very unhappy with what's happening and wants the truth to come out. But the biggest question in this movie is who or what is Charlie, and what is Charlie's need in all of this? It was okay. Like, in terms of a movie, it was okay. It went along quite nicely. I think you expect more because of the big names attached to it. And that's why sometimes I feel like with these kind of movies, you don't want to attach too many big names because your expectations suddenly go up and you expect more. And Robert De Niro in this kind of movie like would have excited me to say, yeah, I want to give it a go. And to be fair, he's not bad. The star of the show for me is Dakota Fanning as Emily. She's brilliant in this movie. Her facial reactions, her just absolute non-reactions to everything, just went really well. She's very, very good at what she did in this movie. there is a twist in it, and I just feel like once the twist is revealed, you kind of, the movie loses all of its charm. For me personally, because then I was just like, oh, okay, it's been done a million times. Um, but for me overall, it weren't a bad movie. I've seen worse, I've seen better. Um, so it kind of fell middle of the road for me. I didn't mind it. It probably won't be one I revisit over and over again, but for what it was decent enough. Yeah, hide and seek. And last but not least, or could be least, 2025. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, where do we go with this one? Directed by Jennifer Katin Robinson, starring, can't read that, Madeline Klein, Chase Sui Wonders, Jonah Howard King, Tariq Withers, Sarah Pidgeon, Billy Campbell, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Jennifer Love Hewitt. So this is a remake slash follow-on slash from the 1997 movie. Look, I'm just going to get it out there. I enjoyed the 97 original. I think it was something fresh in terms of the horror genre. I couldn't get behind any of the characters. I didn't care for them. And I feel that's one of the things I'm not a big fan of, especially 90s horror being remade in this day. Everything needs to be preppy, and it needs to be, oh, look at us, happy, happy, joy style movies with then slashers coming in. Like, for me, growing up watching slashers was dark, it was dirty, it was disturbing. There was comedic elements in it, but that wasn't the forefront of the movie, and the movie focused on the killer as opposed to the characters. And this one did that. Like, I didn't care for any of the characters. I just, even Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt coming back, I don't know, I just felt like they were there for the sake of being there because they were in the original. But yeah, I didn't resonate with any of the lead characters. I didn't almost care. They were just, your lead character, I think Danica was the name in the movie. She's just like the stupid comments that she made. It was just like, you're being tortured and being killed. Like, your friends are being killed, and you're worried about whether you're hot or whether, what are you doing? Like, no, just no. So for that reason, I didn't care, and I see that in a lot of. And this is why I'm not a big fan of watching new horrors, or new teen horrors, too early. I'm quite happy to wait a year to watch them because I know it. Ideally, I'm probably going to be let down. And that's me throwing a big fishing net over a genre of movies, but I love slashers. This to me isn't a slasher. It's a slasher element with a teen drama or something rubbish thrown in there, because it was more about the relationships between those than the killer itself. Like, you didn't really talk about, oh, why the killer do this, what, only until the end. Like, whereas in the other movies, it was focused around why the killer is doing things. Why are they doing this? What could be the reason behind it? What interaction? And then the police force was just like absolutely useless. I didn't care. But don't get me wrong, the kills were fun. And that for me is the only reason I'm rating the movie as high as I am. The kills were fun, and it made it fairly watchable. But yeah, I didn't have a good time with this. I really didn't. And there's a you can see there's a sequel coming just by the end of it and the end rolling credits. You can just see there's a sequel coming. It's not really a spoiler, but there's a post-edit scene that you can kind of see. But there was always going to be a sequel coming, because why wouldn't it? But yeah, I didn't care too much for this. Yeah, I know what you did last summer, but let me know what you think. So that's everything. We started the week off high. We went higher, and then we kind of dipped downwards. It's like the weather in the UK. We did that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next one. So thank you so much.